20 years. That's how long it had been since I'd last seen a woman. Any woman, human or otherwise. The colony ship Artemis Dawn was supposed to be a generational ark, carrying 10,000 people across the stars to terraform and settle on Kepler 442b. But nothing went as planned. A solar flare had fried most of our cryobanks. 90% of the women aboard died in their pods before we ever reached the halfway point. Those of us who survived, the men, were left drifting in a half-functioning ark with too little fuel, too few supplies, and no hope of ever reaching our destination. I was 21 then, a janitor drafted into cryo-maintenance, one of the lucky survivors. I grew older while the years ticked by, while loneliness dug into me like a knife. My shipmates had either killed themselves, turned bitterly violent, or numbed themselves with synthetic stims. Some turned to crude android companions, lifeless mockeries of affection. I lasted. I told myself I could endure. I kept the engines humming, recycled the water, scrubbed the air filters. I became the caretaker of a ghost ship, holding together scraps of what humanity had once been. And then, when I had resigned myself to die alone, she appeared. It began with a beacon. Not one of ours but alien. A pulsing signal caught by our long-range receiver. Against every protocol, I tracked it and maneuvered the Artemis Dawn closer. What did I have to lose? Death was waiting either way. We found a derelict vessel, sleek and black, unlike anything built by human hands. Scans showed one faint life sign inside. With no hesitation I boarded. The airlock hissed, revealing a cryopod, strange in design but eerily similar in concept to ours. Inside was a girl. Not human. Not exactly. Her skin was pale violet, her hair dark and metallic, glinting under the ship's dim lights. She looked about my age, though who could know with aliens? And she was alive. I dragged her pod aboard, jury-rigged our dwindling power supply to sustain it, and prayed to gods I no longer believed in. Days later she stirred. Her amber eyes flicked open, and for the first time in 2 decades, I saw warmth, intelligence, and something feminine. Human, she whispered in a voice like velvet over static. You rescued me. Middle. Her name was Silari, though she shortened it to Sail for my clumsy tongue. She was a scout, part of a species that had long traversed the galaxy in fleets. Her vessel had been crippled during a skirmish with raiders, and she had gone into stasis, waiting for rescue that never came. Till me. At first, I didn't know how to speak to her. 20 years without a woman had turned me awkward, tongue-tied, nervous at every glance she gave me. I stumbled over basic sentences, dropped tools when she walked past, stared too long when she examined the ship's systems with graceful precision. She laughed at me often. Not cruelly, never cruelly, but with a kind of light amusement like watching a cub attempt to roar. Over weeks, she helped repair the failing systems. Where my human engineers had died or given up, she found workarounds, harnessing resonance fields, realigning plasma conduits, coaxing new life into dead machines. For the first time in decades, the ship thrummed with energy again. But more than the engines, she repaired something inside me. She would sit across from me in the galley, head tilted curiously as I told her about Earth, the smell of rain, the taste of coffee, the absurdity of cats. She asked questions, sometimes endlessly, about human bodies, human desires, human history. You survived 20 years without a mate, she asked one night, amber eyes studying me. Yeah, I muttered, staring into my reconstituted stew. Not by choice. On my world, she said softly. No one goes that long without touch, without bond. It breaks the mind. I wanted to tell her she was right, that I was broken, that the sight of her made me ache in ways I couldn't put words to. But the words jammed in my throat. Instead, I busied myself with repairs, with work. Anything to avoid the dangerous heat of her gaze. But she wouldn't let me hide forever. It happened after we repelled an intruder. A scavenger ship had latched onto the Artemis Dawn, its crew eager to strip our hull bare. Together, Sail and I fought them off. I with my welding torch-turned weapon, she with a crystalline blade that shimmered with alien energy. We won, but barely. I stumbled back to my quarters, hands trembling from adrenaline. Sail followed, silent, eyes burning. "You fight well," she said, voice low. "You too," I managed. She stepped closer, close enough that her scent, a sharp electric tang, washed over me. "On my world," she murmured, "when two fight together, their spirits intertwine. They become bound." I swallowed hard. My chest felt like it might crack. She tilted her head, studying me. Then, with a half-smile that sent fire through my veins, she said, "You know what to do, human." And I froze. 20 years without a woman. 20 years of longing buried under survival and solitude. And now, here was this alien girl, offering something my heart and body both screamed for. But I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My hands shook at my sides. My voice cracked. "I don't." Her smile softened into something gentler. She touched my cheek, her skin cool and strange but tender. "Then I will teach you." The days after that changed everything. She didn't rush me. She didn't demand. Instead, she guided me slowly, through touch, through closeness, through trust. She showed me what bonding meant to her people, what it meant to intertwine not just bodies but spirits. For the first time in decades, I felt alive, felt seen. We became inseparable. We worked side by side, ate together, laughed together. In quiet moments, she would lean against me, her head resting on my shoulder, and the weight of her presence anchored me in a way nothing else had. I realized then that I had survived 20 years without a woman, but I had not truly lived until her ending. Months passed. The ship grew stable under our joint care. But with stability came choice. Her fleet, she said, might still exist, far across the stars. She could try to signal them. She could go home. The thought gutted me. "You should," I said, forcing the words through a tightening throat. "Your people will want you back." "And you?" she asked. "I'll keep the Artemis Dawn alive. It's my duty." She was silent a long time. Then she stepped close, placing her hand over my chest. "My world believes in bonds," she whispered. "And I am already bound. To you." The tears came before I could stop them. 20 years of emptiness, of loneliness, of despair, and now this. So we sent the signal together, not to call her fleet to take her away, but to invite them here to join us, to merge two lost peoples into something new. Perhaps they would come, perhaps not, but we would wait together. And in the quiet hum of the ship, with Sail's hand clasped in mine, I no longer feared the emptiness, because for the first time in 20 years, I was no longer alone.